So we're driving the CAV GT40. This car's got plenty of room in it. If anything, I could do with sitting a little bit closer. This GT40 was UK registered in 2008. It's done less than 1,000 miles, and this is the famous Mark 1 GT40. Some of the eagle-eyed viewers may notice the slightly different width of the rear end of arches on the different GT40s. There was actually 3 different arch sizes from memory. The standard narrow car, a medium arch and a wide arch. And these wider arches on this car is the wide arch version. The different arches were there to fit bigger and wider wheels to get more power down on the road. This beautiful car has got paint protection film, which really helps to stop stone chips when you're out on the UK roads. We've got the lovely original Ford style headlamps. The front insert is the V-shaped grille. You can option a fully open grille or the V-shaped one. The difference, I believe, was the V-shape was for the longer, faster tracks like Le Mans, and the fully open one would have been for the shorter tracks, for allowing more or less air out of the radiator and across the car. We've got twin aluminium fuel caps. These cars come with 2 fuel tanks, switched from inside the car, so you can fill both tanks up and change the tanks whilst driving. Obviously, being an endurance racing car designed to race at Le Mans, that extra fuel capacity really helped the car. Lovely chrome bullet mirrors on this one. Slightly touched on, we've got the Gurney bubble, which was to fit your helmet in. Originally called a Gurney bubble because Dan Gurney was over 6 foot and struggled to fit in the original GT40s. The CAV does have more space in it, so there's definitely room for someone of 6 foot tall. Might need to move the seat around to adjust it to you, but definitely movable. So underneath here, we've got a Ford V8. The original cars originally ran the 289 4.7 litre engines, which they would stroke out to 5 litre or more. This engine is a Ford 302, so it started at 5 litre, but it's been stroked out from memory to about 5.6 litre, probably about 342 cubic inch, something like that. Built to 450 plus horsepower specification. You'll see we've got quad downdraft Weber carburetors. We've got a performance inlet manifold. This car's got aluminium heads with bigger valves, stronger rockers. We've got a tubular, bundle of snakes crossover exhaust system. All of this allows extra fuel in, extra air in, and extra bang out. And believe me, this car has got more than enough power for a road car. You'll notice the CAV is a really strong chassis, powder coated in black to give it a very classic and original look. Stainless steel, doesn't rust, very, very strong, gives you a beautiful rigid chassis. We've also got fully rose jointed suspension, fully adjustable coilover shock suspension, and a beautiful anti-roll bar, giving this car really, really good handling setup. You can set it up for track or road, gives you lots of adjustment and lots of usability. The gearbox there is an Audi 6-speed transaxle. 6-speed means you've got plenty of go in the gears and a very, very high top speed. Immediately driving this GT40, you can feel the rigidity of the chassis. It's a very good build quality. You've got no rattles and squeaks and shakes. It's a very, very toughly built car. The car's very well planted on the road, but I will say it's probably a little bit wet out today for over 450 horsepower per tonne. She's going to spin the wheels pretty easy, but you'll get the gist of it. We just won't be able to open her up too much. It's like driving around with a V8 strapped to your back. You've got all that power and noise behind you. Really exciting, puts that smile on your face, but very easy to drive. Excellent vision forward. GT40s are a little bit harder to reverse, but I think they said at Le Mans, if you're looking backwards, you're looking the wrong way. let's show you around the cockpit of the car. So Cape Advanced vehicles do a very high quality interior. They're lovely leather seats. They're all the original style with all the little holes in them. The little ringlet holes there actually were designed to let perspiration and any other liquids from a driver racing in an endurance race to not sit in the seat. So quite an odd thing, but yeah, it lets the water through was the design of them. We've got lovely full GT style leather steering wheel. This car's fitted with a centre gear change. A lot of the CAV cars are set with centre gear change. It does make it for much more of a normal driving style. Don't need to get used to the right-hand gear change. Much more practical, and obviously for a company built in South Africa who export these around the world, much easier from changing from left to right-hand drive. The dashboard is copied from the original. You'll see that the rev counter is in the middle. The rev counter on a race car is the most important dial. That's the one where you're watching when to change gear and what the engine's doing. The speedometer's all the way over there, as that obviously was secondary on a race car, isn't something you really needed to look at whilst on the track. You've got all your indication dials, oil pressure, your water temperature, your oil temperature, your fault gauge. The fuel gauge on this car is a single fuel gauge, which as you switch from one fuel tank to the other, the gauge will change from the right gauge to the left gauge. Your switches on the dashboard, they're all labelled. So you've got things like your demister, your air conditioning, your fans, your hazards, your lights, your fuel pump switch, wipers, etc. All nicely labelled and laid across the dashboard there. Handbrake in the middle. This car's got inertia seat belts, nice and easy to use. We can obviously additionally add harnesses if it's something you prefer. But a very spacious cabin for a GT40 and a very high quality of leather and fit and finish. Proper production car style. Everything on the GT40 is laid out right in front of you. Very easy to see what you need. You can see the rev counter's right in the middle, which is what you're looking at most of the time when you're driving it at speed. We've got our oil pressure and our water temperature gauge, the main things to let you know everything's all okay. Your additional dials of your oil temperature, your fuel, your volts, and obviously the speedometer are all there when you need them. More than enough power. I could probably do it being a little bit taller. Normally in a GT40 you set the seat up for the driver. So for me I'd probably want to go a little bit further forward so I can reach the pedals better. But for the taller drivers, headroom, you know, there's plenty of room in this car. You're never going to run out of power on the road in this car. The braking system on this is a Willwood brake system all the way round. So we've got vented disc brakes, big 4 or 6 pot calipers, so plenty of stopping power. Handling on the car is really good. She sticks to the road well. bit wet for giving it too much power today, but warm these tyres up and you'll get some really good performance. She's spinning the wheels. On a dry day, there's nothing that'll catch you in this. So if we have a look at the wheels, these are Hallibrand style wheels. These are proper knock-on wheels. So we've got the spinner here that holds the wheel on. We've got the safety pin, and they're wired. The wires, believe it or not, are actually wired so that you see when the wheel loosens rather than to stop it from undoing. So if the wheel loosens, this will kink, and if you see a kink in this, you know you need to retighten your wheels. This particular car is fitted with 17-inch wheels. The taller wheel with a smaller tyre gives you much better high-speed handling. If you change these wheels down to 15s with big balloon tyres, you'll find a lot of tyre movement at high speed, and out on the road, these are a much better wheel and tyre combination for fast driving. Obviously, a mention of the wide arch allows a much wider wheel. The wider wheel like these, I think 315 tyres on here, give you an increased rear end, increased grip, meaning you can try and get as much of those 450 horsepower onto the road. Lovely torque from the engine. It's got the quad Webers on it, so it sounds beautiful. The sucking noise of the carburetors, the tune of the exhaust just sounds absolutely beautiful in this car. Wants to spin the wheels though in every gear at the moment. The power and the performance from a 450 horsepower engine in a car of this sort of weight, I don't think a lot of people realise how much power that is. You know, 450 brake horsepower per tonne is a huge amount of power for a road car. You know, the acceleration on this car is absolutely amazing. Spinning the wheels in fourth at a touch of a throttle. You know, this car literally needs to warm its tyres up on a dry day to use anywhere near that amount of power. Full details and more information and pictures on this car, you can find out all the information on our website, which is www.totalheadturners.com. You can call us anytime on 01992 573 564. There's plenty to see at Total Head Turners.